One of the many benefits of serving as chair of the anthropology department is the privilege to work with and get to know better our remarkable colleagues, phenomenal students, and many, many distinguished alumni. A particularly rewarding part of my job has been to connect with these alums who extend anthropology's distinctive approach to the world into new and often paradigm-changing domains of the sciences, arts, and business. And you're about to join them. Today's commencement speaker is a perfect example of the critical impact that anthropologists can have on the world, both inside and outside of academia. I have the pleasure of introducing the exceptional filmmaker, teacher, writer, and UCLA Anthropology graduate, Nadine Truong. Trilingual, born in Germany to Vietnamese parents, she moved to the United States in her last years of high school. Like many of you, she came to UCLA as a transferred student and earned her BA in anthropology in 2003. She subsequently earned her MFA degree in directing in 2009 from the prestigious and very difficult to get into American Film Institute Conservatory. Truong gained her recognition with several early short films and went on to make the first of her feature films, Someone I Used to Know, in 2011. Since 2024, she's also an adjunct professor at Chapman University, Loyola Marymount University, and UC Irvine, where she teaches directing, production, and screenwriting at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. As anthropologist Barbara Meyerhoff, a fellow UCLA alumna and Oscar-winning filmmaker, has explained, telling one's story is not simply remembering. It's also an act of making, of asserting, of becoming. For refugees and migrants, stories are, as author Viet Thanh Nguyen tells us, often their only possession in a world in which they otherwise have none. Narrative is world-making, especially in the context of cultural marginalization and survival. Nadine Truong's filmmaking is driven by her love of narrative. She draws both on her personal diasporic sensibility and, as she's explained, her anthropological training in the study of cultural diversity and ethnographic observation and awareness. As a Vietnamese American woman working in a still largely male and single cultural industry, Truong is a distinctive and brave voice in independent cinema. Her first feature portrayed a group of estranged young Asian American male friends who reunite for a night out. It's nuanced, character-driven, very intimate and innovative, and a film about masculinity, vulnerability, and Asian American identity. Her second feature, I Can, I Will, I Did, explores a foster care teenage boy's traumatic experiences of bullying and physical and emotional trauma, the complexity of his imbrication with his foster family, and his self-discovery through failure, friendship with a disabled young woman, and Taekwondo. The context is urban, multiracial, multi-ethnic reality, and there's no stereotyping. There's nothing linear or conventional about her storylines or her art. Her camera focuses on everyday life, on the changeability of our moods, faces, and intentions, and on the real-world situations young people in particular confront. I want to end my introduction by quoting from Nadine herself to give courage to today's graduates who are perhaps worried about their own leap into the professional world. When Nadine began her career, she knew she wanted to direct films, but she wasn't confident. There were very few women in the program at the conservatory at that time, and she doubted she'd even be accepted. The barrier for women was daunting. She remembers, I was very shy and had deep insecurities about entering a male-dominated field. So I resorted to work in the entertainment industry at a talent agency and various production companies. I thought that being a filmmaker, being filmmaker adjacent, being next to the filmmakers, would make me happy enough. And then one day I looked up from a batch of bad screenplays I was reading, and I thought, I can do this. I can do this better. She took the plunge and made her first short films on a shoestring, and with the support of peers and allies, the solidarity that Jessica Catalino just referred to, who also loved film, she's now one of our most exciting young directors. But she can tell you all this much better herself. Please join in welcoming our alumna speaker for 2025, Nadine Truong.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much, Professor Hart and the entire anthropology department for inviting me to speak before you today. It is a great honor and privilege. I'm grateful to share this very crucial and joyous moment in time with you. I started my academic UCLA journey first as a transfer student from the Bay Area. I went to De Anza College, and also, hello De Anza, and also took a couple of classes at San Jose State University before I joined the Bruins down here in 2001. I just switched from psychology, drawn in by a lower division anthro class, because it seemed that this major would make the world more explorable. That fall, in 2001, however, is when our nation was faced with an incredibly cataclysmic event, the 9/11 attacks. I was young and experiencing some personal losses at the time, and I had not lived under the guidance of parents since my move from Germany to the United States at age 16. I became anxious and depressed, and like many of my fellow Americans, I battled recurring nightmares. And my grades began to suffer. I went from straight A transfer student to failing most of my classes, including my anthropology classes. But I did still go to all the classes. I did still do all my readings, even when my brain could not recall certain things for a Blue Book test, even when I couldn't answer essay questions. The lessons of anthropology still seeped into me and gave me peace. By osmosis, I learned to make sense of the world. The department gave me a safe space to let my thoughts unfold. It taught me that cultures aren't a puzzle to solve or problems to fix, that cultures operate by their own logic, their own traditions, their own truths. Anthropology taught me about finding the universality in our differences, and I very much use this in my filmmaking career today. So, for example, I'm currently writing and developing a film about hoarding. I ask myself a particular question. How does one person, not all, but one specific person, become who they are today by the things they've collected? Because I'm a visual artist and storyteller, I of course bring you a little prop from the early 2000s when I was a student here. Ta-da! This, you might recognize as something completely modern and hip. It is a Y2K Coach brand fashion bag. This one is particularly emblematic. It's a small, loudly monogrammed, functional underarm vessel of a time that was brim with hope. In case you aren't aware, but Y2K fashion is trending again. And I often find myself perusing bags of that time from reseller markets. I have bought Y2K fashion off of Poshmark and eBay sellers that hail from Kissimmee, Florida, or Arlington, Virginia, or Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Sometimes I Google the senders' names and I learn about the new vintage bag's previous lives. And I discover people of different political views and socioeconomic statuses other than my own. I have found business cards by devout evangelical Christians, for example, and it surprises me that what held their lives once now holds mine, who is a non-practicing Buddhist. This is material culture that travels through space and time. The bags come from people I may never agree with politically, people whose lives look like nothing like mine, but here we are, linked by a shared love of leather and nostalgia, These bags are messengers across belief systems. I understand, because of my education here at UCLA, that artifacts take on symbolic meaning. And today, as a filmmaker, I use things to photograph them because they're stand-ins for internal worlds, for characters I create for the screen. Bags, heirlooms, clutter, they're all visible residue of an invisible world. My UCLA education has direct application to the professional life I've created for myself, even if it does not seem so on the surface. Many of you already know what the next step in your journey is. You have a plan. Perhaps you will go to law school in order to help uphold the democratic values upon which our country is built. Or maybe you are entering a career in human resources, using your knowledge to help people acclimate into the work culture of a company. And perhaps there are a few select of you for whom the study of anthropology is a way of life, and you have decided to dedicate your time and energy into furthering the field, for which we thank you for all that you will continue to uncover, log, and reveal. But for some of you sitting here, I know you're asking yourself, what now with this anthropology degree? I know this because graduating from here 22 years ago kick-started for me another intensely depressive period of questioning my life choices. Especially in this day and age, where the spotlight seems to shine brightest on the hard sciences, you're sitting here with a degree in the study of human culture, of humanity, wondering where you fit in. But what you have learned here matters. You give finance and tech and AI developers and biotech wizards a guardrail with your background. You gravitated toward a field that infuses these other fields with humanity. This doesn't overtly or clearly translate into an obvious path of a career or source of a big paycheck, but it carries real impact. You live in the realm of ideas, emotion, imperfect beauty, and growth. For the time that you were at UCLA, you chose to nourish your spirit. Not everyone can do what you do. Not everyone would do what you did, even if they could. Anthropology is a study of culture, of biology, of linguistic expansion, of meaning and symbols. So very, very noble. You believe in evolution and you hold space for religion because you know that both can shape a life. You combat the generic and you offer nuance. You can hold contradictions with care. No algorithm can feel a vibe without the holding. No AI alone can decode the sacred in a family heirloom. That's the legacy you carry out into the world. The imaginative, the subjective, the human. You did not shy away from walking the path that's been lesser walked. Yours is a skill set that is both specific and broad. This is an advantage. It means that you have not yet boxed your life into a specific lane, and that the sky is still the limit. You are not done exploring. You can still go anywhere and make an impact, because the version you are today is not the version you will be 20 years from now. Humanities skill sets are applicable from the business sector to technology, from domestic nonprofit work to advocacy work internationally. You will be a good entrepreneur because of this degree, and you are qualified to continue your studies to enter any field of your interest, be it tech, medicine, engineering, fashion, art, music. Whatever new interests will spark you, even if you need to take a couple of additional steps. This is precisely what I did. I took what I learned from my anthro classes and made a narrative short film about a cultural misunderstanding between a Japanese husband and a Vietnamese wife. And then I made another one, and another one. until I had enough material in my portfolio to apply to one of the top film graduate programs in the world, the American Film Institute Conservatory, where I earned the next degree, an MFA in film directing. I continued to draw from what I'd learned here to write screenplays. I went on to direct 3 feature-length films, and today I speak to you as a practitioner of the arts and as a film professor who teaches at film programs all across Los Angeles. All because 22 years ago, I sat where you sit. So whatever GPA today, or however uncertain your future may seem, be reminded that you're all sitting in the same chairs. You've earned your seat. Your degree is a life milestone, one that has made you a more well-rounded person. The country needs more anthropologists. Whatever comes next, know that you will excavate a way forward to get where you need to be. But for now, remember you are here, leaving a top California university with a degree that is about collecting data, which can be used to promote justice in our communities. You are graduating from the University of California, Los Angeles, in one of the most vibrant metropolitan cities in the world, a place so iconic and diverse. It is a breeding ground for study for various fields, and so welcoming of others. It will be hosting the 2028 Olympics. The DNA of Los Angeles is comprised of various cultural groups. It is a hotbed for technological advances in several fields, and it is the birthplace of many stories told via literature and entertainment. So, of course, it cannot go unnoticed that our beloved city has seen an increase in appearance of widespread enforcement action, widespread immigration enforcement action these past few days. As a descendant of immigrants who fled persecution under duress and whose extended family ended up spread all over the world, this deeply disturbs me. There's so much anguish of the unknown, so much sorrow separating children from their families, so much cruelty. We know that these are not just news stories, but actual lived experiences for many of you. So just like 9/11 was in the zeitgeist of my time here, these events are part of yours. So take what you've learned here, the compassion, the curiosity, and the care, and the unwavering belief that every individual is worthy of respect and dignity, and string those that you meet in your path ahead along with you. Fortify your belief that your time here was not only worthy of your own successful future, but that of your community as well. Whether you are a straight A student or just barely made it to 2.9 with the help of some dance classes to keep your GPA up like I did, you have the tools for peaceful and safe expression of voices. Use these wisely in your lifetime, and perhaps dig around and find your version of a joyous Y2K bag as an artifact of your time here at UCLA. The anthropology department and I cheer you on. We believe in you. Congratulations to the class of 2025. What an honor to be with you.